Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Versatile League. Earlier, we promised you another goated series, and here is our goated series. It is a best of two. It's going to be Phantom Legion going up against Dawn. And honestly, if you saw our first series of the day, I promise you it's going to be just as good. Mickey has stepped away, but I've brought a new friend to the casting desk. Cairo, welcome.
How's it going, Chief? I hope you guys at home will be able to understand me with my Scottish accent. I'm so excited to get into this Valorant game. But yeah, I mean, Phantom Legion against Dawn Entity. This game has got to be a banger.
I mean, we don't have a map ban scene for you, but I can do is tell you what we're going today. And if you liked our first series, you're going to love the maps. Bind and Haven are once again being relocated onto your screen, relocated into our series. And honestly, we had phenomenal maps. And you know what? I'm okay duplicating it today, particularly Bind. We saw that 9-3 comeback, and that was something that we just assumed was not going to happen. Honestly, Surf Esports had an incredible map number one. Unfortunately, they weren't able to bring it here in map two. But will we see something that is just such a landslide victory in the first half, a 9-3? I highly doubt it.
I mean, I imagine these teams will be a lot more evenly matched, potentially, but we don't know. I mean, it's Valorant, anything can happen. This game is totally, it's unlike where we come from in Siege, in the fact that, I mean, there is the whole economy system. There's a different type of mechanics to it. So I'm excited to see what these two teams are going to bring. And the fact that it's all on mechanical ability, so hopefully some crazy, wacky shots we'll see.
In our first year's day, we really saw an emphasis, kind of the primary entries or the duelists going
Yeah.
back to back. It was Jet v Jet, always establishing control, whether or not it was attack control, storming into a bomb site, or defenders just trying to defend that keep. We'd always see the Gems spearheading that style
Yeah.
of play. And currently for Phantom Legion, we don't even see a Jet be locked in. It's going to be a Viper instead. And we actually saw those Viper walls for both of these teams earlier on just be these oppressive power positions that the defense wasn't quite able to address.
Yeah, I mean the thing is though, Viper obviously she got a recent buff. I can't remember when it was, but she is such a strong operator now. Obviously she wasn't picked that often, but now she's making a resurgence in the most current meta. We're seeing there's an Astra picked as well. She's kind of like that chess operator. She kind of places her charges, etc., in key locations where she can deny entry or even deny defender rotations.
Pistol rounds starting to go underway, and rosters are making the economic decision whether or not they want to spend some of their hard-earned cash on some pistols, or are they going to save it outright. We see frenzies, ghosts, and even some people rocking 25 armors. Again, it just comes down to how you want to go for a site execute. Where are you going to be prepared? And right now, it appears it's going to be a flood over into B.
Yeah, we see here there's a full commit, and there's a couple of there's a boombox being committed, some more utility. We see we're going to grab a quick alt point here as we see the defenders starting to create those crossfires, making sure that no one can enter into sight. Well set up, but can the attackers dismantle these crossfires? Can they make their entry into sight? Seems a bit of wasted utility from the defenders here. Can the attackers make use of that?
So the reason why we saw those Viper walls go up for both those teams is the fact that they're just trying to bait the execute. Again, it's an emphasis being made over by Phantom Legion, trying to flood into B, but they want to draw attention over into A as well.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of shots being traded there. Some few bits of damage, and we're going to start seeing some swings. The trades coming out now into the kill feed. Few back and forth, but we're going to start to slow it down now. And now in a 2 versus 4 situation, make that a 3 versus none as the defenders win out the first round. A great round from them.
I liked what we saw out of Phantom Legion on attack, particularly the dual usages of Viper baiting and teasing the execute into A, but we're already starting to see the flaws of our first series of the day. Attacking rosters set up to go for an execute and just waiting a little bit too long. You can see what that does to a defensive team. Dawn was able to realize, hey, Viper walls are going up over on A, but there's no attackers actually anywhere near this Viper wall. So they start to tease a rotation back over to B, and then both teams meet pretty much their entire roster count going straight at each other. Again, if you commit to an execute, don't just sit outside. actually commit and start to flood into that bomb site, be dynamic, and be willing to take those gunfights.
I think as well in a game like Valorant where you're almost guaranteed to have absolute control in terms of man count, but do you want to know what that man count that's going to be taken down a little bit as we see the attackers, sorry, they're going to lose a man, but defenders losing more.
Using that teleport perfectly, but unfortunately, Dawn, they lose that as the engagement point. They're trying to make a swift rotation. They learned that Phantom Legion, they wanted to go for that linear execute into A. However, they got baited into that teleport, and as a result, they lost one of their fighters, but still a 3v4. Sub 60 seconds left on the clock. And Dawn has once again realized it's a full rotation being committed by Phantom Legion as Phantom Legion starts prepared to go for a site execute, putting that spike down, and they have so much Viper utility, it should be a free execute.
Yeah, plant going down pretty easy there, and now the defender's taking a bit of an off position as Rams is going to be able to get two, and now in a 2 versus 2 situation, post plant, can they win out these duels? The bullets get back and forth, can they win? Rams is going to get able to get one, but now getting back and forth, the Reyna goes, but can the Viper go as well? Yes, he can! Kicks with a great clutch there, and now going to make sure the defenders get that eco up and get a second round on the board.
Economic damage being dealt a lot to Phantom Legion there. That was a pistol round since they were the one that lost round one, the original pistol. So not all hope was lost for Phantom Legion, particularly now that they have access to full weaponry, all their rifles and armor now being locked and loaded. I like the Phantom Legion offense that they brought there. They tease the A side execute, they make a full rotation, they cover their planter with utility. However, they just didn't do their due diligence when it actually came to taking those gunfights. You have to look at every single nook and cranny. That is one of the downsides of being a Valorant player. You just have to be prepared for somebody just to be lurking in some atypical corner, and Rams able to collect that 2-piece, just opened it up wide for Dawn and put Phantom Legion in almost to an impossible winning position.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the thing is, though, they just didn't set up the crossfires. I mean, how many times have we talked about crossfires before, Chief, coming from a siege, it's all about those kind of things, you know, I mean, plenty. But now, I think there's a bit of a flank here coming from the Viper of the defenders. Look, we see here, look at the map just below. She's coming round. I wonder if she'll be able to catch anybody off guard.
Still lurking, applying pressure, but Dawn, they're going to have to hold these bombs with man disadvantage, and that's going to allow Phantom Legion to continue onto the bomb site. Flooding got through! They check their corners for a second round in a row. Kicks gets gifted 2 free kills. Smoke grenades covering that spike as we now drift into that post plant.
Yeah, just into the post plant here. I talked about the Viper making that flank, and now look at this. The defender, the attacker, sorry, is in a bad position. The Viper putting out our wall, and now it's Viper versus Viper as Rams is able to get that kill onto Daigen. Here we see we start to slow down, the walls drops, but so does Rams. Fluffy getting that shot, getting the defuse down, and again, defenders putting more rounds on the board.
Well, you mentioned that Viper flank. It became the saving grace for Dawn. Again, they started off that defensive execute with a man disadvantage. They did a wonderful job of temporarily holding the execute and to be keeping it at bay. But eventually, Phantom Legion, they overran the fortress. And again, they made the fatal mistake that we just mentioned, not checking their corners. They get a little bit too carried away. They know that their job is to put the spike in that bomb site. Phenomenal. I like that from a roster, knowing exactly what your job is. But again, as you're a primary entry, you just need to make sure nobody is lurking. Once they established that bomb site control, they had good post plan. They just weren't quite prepared for the defense to come from behind. When you're in that scenario, you just have to do your due diligence, be prepared for any possible execute to transpire. Another round where Phantom Legion, they look good, but unable to secure the deal, and it's going to get worse for them as 2 of their players instantaneously off the rip fall.
I feel as if it's just a maybe not a lack of, but just being not prepared to take the gunfights. They're putting ourselves in these kind of precarious situations where you've got to take a gunfight, you've got to be ready, and they're just not, and it's just unfortunate because what's happening here, the aggression from the defenders is just working out so well again. Kicks and Fluffy putting their name on that scoreboard, finishing out the round. Rams.
Well, it's starting to look like from our first series of the day, our first bind, we saw 7 rounds in a row be won, and then the roster that had the round disadvantage ended up coming back and saving the day. It's something that could transpire. Again, it was hyper defender sided. That's the word that we referred to it as earlier. So not all hope is lost for Phantom Legion. But you are absolutely right, my friend. They do need to start to address how they take gunfights. Again, you know, in Valorant, you can rely a lot on utility, you can rely a lot on your lineups, but at a certain point, it does devolve into a first-person shooter. You do have to start to collect heads,
Yeah.
and Phantom Legion, just how passively they're executing, it's really starting to cost them, and you don't want to find yourself in the same position Surf was earlier. Sure, they're able to win it, but you just don't want to have such an obstacle in front of you.
Yeah, you don't want to have those questions asked of your mental. Have you got the capability to bring it back? Have you got the gun skill to bring it back? The questions will be getting asked, but can they answer them? We see here there's a bit of info gathering being taken from the attackers, being a bit slower this time. I mean, maybe too slow. We've seen it before where it just kind of fell apart. This is something that we'll need to see happening. There's a couple of arrows from the defenders themselves. They've got enough utility. They've even got a camera from that Cypher up above. So will it be enough? This is something we'll need to find out. We still have a man kind of split between the two sites, as we see there's two left on A.
Yeah, Floofy's just going to be holding over that A bomb site, just baiting and hoping that Phantom Legion puts in. And it seems like both rosters are on the exact same wavelength. It's a full rotation being made over to A. All 10 players in this lobby are going to start to collapse on one scenario, being prepared to go for the execute and attempt to put that spike on the ground.
I liked this execute last time when they got the bomb down. It was just unfortunate not being able to get the plant down, and now we finally start to see the kills come out. And look, the trades are coming out now, and again the plant didn't get put down, and the clock is going down itself.
10 seconds left.
Spike now committed. Information darts going out, trying to grab exactly what shenanigans are transpiring on the map. But again, the defense for the first time that are disadvantaged. Hellfire rains from the sky, but it doesn't connect. The only thing it does is force the defense away from their held positions. They still need to aggress back over to the bomb site and start to take kills. They need to start to play on that spike. They need to get kills, but unfortunately, time is not on their side. They do get a kill, a step in the right direction, but a refrag through the wall. 20 HP in a dream. Attempted swing. The headshot connects. And Kicks now falls. A perfect clutch being made by Phantom Legion. And finally, they stop the bleeding and they take their first round win on attack.
Yeah, a bit of eco damage being done to those defenders. That was a great round there. I said before, I liked the way they did the execute last time when they actually executed on the A site. It looked a lot more convincing. And again, finally, they capitalised on the advantages that they had made. They got rid of the defenders. They got the plant down, created the great crossfires there, and then were able just to win it out with a great mechanical clutch.
Again, we talked about how Phantom Legion needs to start to take gunfights. They do exactly that. And it's going to mount not in their favor this time as rounds. It's the same operator. It's the same agent. Jett with the sniper rifle claims one over by B long. And you know what? She's not done. She's still trying to swing. Oh, the spike gets caught in a pad rotation. Phantom Legion, once again, they're able to win round 5, but the issues are starting to rear their ugly heads once again.
Yeah, and not only that, look, we have a Viper ult to help these defenders. This is just going to put them in a more disadvantageous position. They're going to have to swing this corner, try and get rid of this Viper, and no, they won't be able to. Oh, wait, sorry. That's totally wrong. Dagon's able to get rid, and there we go. Finally, defenders win out the round.
That was a round with Phantom Legion. They were all over the place. They didn't know what bomb site they wanted to execute on, and instead, they executed on neither bomb site. They were stuck in rotations. Why? Because they executed so slowly. They're teased onto the B site. They never committed to it. Again, a problem that we had back on the original showing of Vine, our first series of the day. They attempt that rotation, but since the defenders got the coast is clear, they're able to rotate up into the connectors, the middle part of the round, or the middle part of the map between the two bomb sites, and shut down all those rotations. We need Phantom Legion just to make the idea say, hey, take control, go for the execute. And even if you make that call, don't execute into an operator.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We can't seem to stop this player that's on the operator. She's just going absolutely crazy here. The Jett, who's just can't be stopped. Now, though, there's plenty of gunfights being taken. Floofy's going to get one of his own, but getting a bit of a refrag here. Rams still rampant on that operator. And now the Soba and the Viper in a very precarious situation. Can they win out this gunfight? They don't have the equal. They've got the Sheriff out. Dagon's going to get one. And now the Soba getting taken out. Defenders taking another round and making sure that momentum doesn't stop.
It's not looking good in the economic department for Phantom Legion. A lot of them are still sitting at that, 4,000, 5,000 currency credit mark. The problem is, once they buy this round, they're going to be sitting at well below 1,000. And the only person at above 1,000, 1,100, is not the position that you want to be in, particularly if Phantom Legion ends up losing this round. I mean, that's going to put them on another eco, another pistol round. Now, we've seen some good mechanical plays coming out them with sheriffs in hand, so it's not like they're not lethal with handguns. It's just not a comfortable scenario to be in, particularly when you're slow in attacking executes.
I like this, so they're actually gaining info before swinging corners and actually putting themselves in that place where they need to take the gunfight. Another thing we need to remember, this op still hasn't been lost, so again, as we say, that eco just keep building up and building up. That train is starting to run away. Can the attackers pull it back? They're not committing to anything yet. They're gaining the info that they need to get before committing to anything. We're still heading, we're heading to this minute mark and we still don't have a commitment to any site. They know where one of the players is. They know where the jet is, over by Showers. Again, how do you use this information? What decision do you make? It seems to be the decision is A, and now the commitment for the utility comes in.
Commitment being answered by both these teams as utility is now stopping that push dead in its tracks, and Phantom Legion, they've been down this road before. Let's make a late commitment to a bomb site, and now they're all stacked on top of each other. Maybe 3 square meters to surround themselves, but the rotation through the teleporter, they are now committing over to B, but Phantom Legion still has their troops in this scenario.
Yeah, they have plenty of guns waiting, ready to answer. There seems to be a bit of an ult here, getting ready to put this plant down. Can they win out the round? We'll need to see the spikes getting committed and confirmed. Now the guns are starting to be confirmed as well as the bodies drop the floor. Ult's being used. Can we see a defuse coming out? Potentially, it's only the Raze that's left on the board. And do you want to know what? She's got one of her own. She can win this out. Yes, she can. Oh, wait, no, she can't. Never mind. I'm talking rubbish. There we go. The defenders actually win that.
Oh, Kyrie, I love you, man. I mean,
I was getting ready to get hype, and then I was just like, oh, wait, no, never mind.
You broke my heart there. I was prepared to see the most phenomenal, incredible, mind-melting comeback by Phantom Legion, but my friend, I think we saw the writing on the wall. It was just something that they weren't able to do. An incredible rotation. I mean, you could hear it in both of our voices when the teleporter opened up and we saw Phantom Legion rotate. They tried to go for another bait and switch. They've rotated between these bomb sites 3 different times back in round 8, and the play is just not working for them. I wanted to see full committed execute. Now is the time to do it. You have no weaponry. You have pistols. What do you have to lose if you don't commit to this execute? Not much. I mean, your economy is going to be back in your hands. It's back normal when you return at the end of or the start of round 9.
I think that, see, if you commit 5 men onto a site, let's be honest, you're going to win gunfights because you're going to have to, as a defender, you need to split more bodies between those 2 sites, and it's a bigger distance than what we're used to in Siege, so therefore the rotations are longer. It's easier to gain control of site, you just need to win your gunfights, and the longer they wait, the more kind of, how would you put it, the more effectiveness of the defender utility, because it lasts longer. And now, look, clock's ticking down again. I can't believe we just seen that.
I mean, Grumpy Cat is a perfect way of illustrating Phantom Legion. I mean, I'd be grumpy right now, just struggling to find the execute onto the bomb site. But I have a suspicion that this is just going to be a defending side of the map because these rosters are just a little bit timid when it comes to taking gunfights. I think it's a point that we need to address moving forward as the execute starts to go underway. 2 kills, Phantom Legion drops 2 of their members.
Yeah, and a bit of an answer back here as we see PLG, they're going to be able to get some of their own, and now the defenders are starting to drop. Now in a 1 versus 3 situation, can we see a clutch coming out? The defuser's going to get dropped, but so is the body of Ramza. Now Spray left. Try to do a bit of Overwatch. She's going to be the man that's going to sit at the back. The Raze and the Brimstone, can they win out this round? This is the thing though, we've seen the defenders win out most so far. It's an Astra that's left. She's got plenty of utility. Remember, she can go up into the sky and fling that utility down, trying to displace the defender, trying to see if she can get a pick through that utility. Doesn't seem to be the case now, and the diffuser is ticking down, it's getting faster. There goes one. Can they get the pick onto the Brimstone? He's playing it safe though. That's the thing. That's all he needs to do. He just needs to make sure this diffuser goes off, and now here goes the Brimstone ult just to make make sure the round goes in favour of these attackers, and there we go, the bomb goes boom.
I believe they were able to teleport away safely, and they indeed will be. So the economy damage, not quite exactly what Phantom Legion wanted, but they were able to win that round. Why? Because they've been doing what we've been screaming at them the entire time. It's a simple phrase that we mentioned back in our first series, and again, coming from Rainbow Six Siege, it's something that's very common for most IGLs to mention, or some phrase like that. It's called take control. And it's the idea where an IGL is like, all right, again, I know my entries are dead, or I know my entries are being a little bit timid, but at a certain point, you just need to push the objective and take gunfights. That includes, you know, your primary support, whether or not, you know, it's a thermite or something. So it's the same idea here. You just have to say, all right, boys, like, what do we have to lose if we don't execute? Well, if you don't execute, you lose the round because you did nothing. But if you actually go for the execute and the execute fails, at least you tried to execute. And that's what I want to see. Take control, push the bomb site forward, or actually both these rosters are going to start that off as trades back and forth.
Yeah, do I know this one man down on either side, but information gathering being done by the attackers. I believe that was an owl from that sorry. Yeah, that was the one from the attackers, I'm sure. And now we see here the defenders, they're just going to chill, they're just going to see what's happening. Viper walls being kind of thrown out, the smoke ball is well being used, and this is the thing. We see 3 of the attackers committed on that long, but 1 in Showers can. They seem to get a pick, open up that site. It's a 2-2 split from the defenders as well, but remember, it'll be 4 versus 2 on site. There is an operator in hand, and here comes the first gunfight in favour of the defenders. Plant starting to go down. The Viper smoke is down as well, so this is the thing. Can we get the plant down? Can we see a commitment? But no, we're going to see a rotate. It's again something that we talked about before. Fluffy going to get a kill, and now 2 versus 4 on site. I think there's going to be a bit of a flank here. I don't know if this is looking good for these attackers.
Spike going down once again, trying to remove it with the gravity well, but it doesn't quite find the impact that was desired. 2v4, not in favor of the attackers. It's all going to be on Reskop. He's stuck on his bomb site that he just basically put that spike down. He wants to defend as long as possible. Dual swing comes out, but Deegan is better, confirming that headshot, and Kicks will grab that free defuse. Valiant effort by Phantom Legion, a strong rotation, but unfortunately didn't quite have the desired effect.
Yeah, that's the thing. I believe this is the penultimate round before the split that we have here. So maybe they'll be thinking to themselves, maybe go eco potentially, maybe try and hold out, and then we can go all out in the next round. It seems to be the case here as we see a lot of pistols in favour of the attackers. That's the thing though, we look towards the defenders, and what do they have? They have full loadouts, phantoms, operators, the full shebang. They can do what they want, they just need to hold the angles and win the gunfights. The thing is though, it's an uphill battle for these attackers. Can they win it?
That light buy is going to make it very difficult for Phantom Legion to win future gunfights, particularly with Rams providing so much information to Dawn. Now, he's not taking a gunfight. The reason that is because Phantom Legion is nowhere near B. It's a full send. Into the A site, flashbangs go out, smoke grenades go out, but no casualties mounting.
No casualties mounting, but there's a bit of a flank going on here. It looks towards our map. Spike Planner are getting denied, but there's going to be picked up fairly quickly, and now the Viper picking that up. Going to drop it as well, and now 3 versus 4 here in this scenario. More bodies hit the floor as the kind of flank is starting to come through, and now in a 1 versus 4 situation, they all start to become like piranhas. They're trying to circle their prey, they're trying to close out the round. Fluffy getting his third of the round, finishing it out.
I mean, difficult round for Phantom Legion to be in. You don't want to be executing on the penultimate round with hardly any utility, but the silver lining to that was they saved their money. And now they can go into the final round fully kitted. They have as much armor available to them as possible, and now they're just going to try to find some type of impact. If we go back to our first series of the day, Bind ended up being a half a 9-3 split. And so far, that seems to be the case for Phantom Legion. They're going to basically replicate that once again. But I promise Phantom Legion, they want to find something this round. They don't want to surrender any more rounds, because if you end up at that double-digit mark, well, that's going to be a difficult position to come back from. And so far, with 2 kills in their favor, that's exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, there's plenty of momentum on the side of attackers for this round. The Toxin getting low though, and here comes the Molotov-esque Viper. Gonna swing the angle and gonna win it out. Ramaza, he's doing pretty well here. Now the Jet and the Soba left with the ult to do. The Viper ult to confirm the round. There's still Arena ult as well. So this is the thing though, there's no ults on the side of the defenders as well to try and get picked. The Arena gonna win out the first one. Soba in a 1 versus 5, a lot to do, but is he actually gonna be able to win this out? The Arena jumping out, invisible, finishing out the round. Absolutely flawless. A great round to finish out that split before moving on to the defenders side. They haven't went double digits, as you said, Chief. So then they've got a bit of breathing room. They can actually, maybe potentially, make their mental that bit better. Say, look, boys, we're not double digits. We can actually bring this back. We've seen it before. We've seen it last match. Come on, bring it back.
That's a motivation starter for sure. If you're Phantom Legion, after having that incredible attacking execute, you are now thinking, all right, I'm on defense. I just saw the rosters in front of me come back from this round deficit, so I know that I can do that as well. And you just kind of rely on your mechanical skill. You put yourself in scenarios where you swing, but more importantly, you win those pistol rounds. Because again, we've seen teams topple juggernauts in these early rounds when you have that pistol round where everybody's at the same economic advantage or disadvantage, if you want to look at it that way, since you don't have a lot of funds and a lot of credits in your pocket. And then you enter in that anti-eco. You bring a little bit more weaponry to your opponents, forcing them also into a pistol scenario where you have some machine guns or an occasional pistol.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? There's plenty to do, but the thing that you need to focus on, again, is 1 round at a time. You've already mentioned it. Giants have been toppled by winning the first round. You win the first round, then you start to get a bit of momentum. The momentum slowly builds, and then next thing you know, you've got this big massive snowball running down the hill and you can't stop it. Can they be this snowball? Can they actually win out these rounds? Something we'll need to see, a bit of commitment of bodies here in towards the B side. Can they be doing what we said to do in the last round? Can the team of Dawn Entity actually use the advice we were given to Phantom Legion? We'll need to see here as we see Rams actually going to win out that fight, and now as the site is starting to open up, it's not looking good at all.
Phantom Legion falling 1 by 1, but they're going to still hold the fortress down. With sprays now falling, it's going to force a full rotation on through from the final remaining player. Rams is against 3 in a post plan. Not exactly the scenario you want to be in. Classic pistol also makes that endeavor a little bit more difficult, since everyone else that you're going against either has Ghost or Frenzies, and an incredible shot and a flick over an elbow. So looking a little bit more doable, but that time working its way on down. The execution's going to have to go on through, so Rams pushes deeper into the bomb site. Looking into split, doesn't find its target. A nice flick, an attempted find, but Rams claims a headshot first. That is Phantom Legion falling on their first defensive stint. They don't want to be in this scenario because they're going to go up against an attacking or defending anti-eco.
Yeah, that's the thing. The anti-eco now is really starting, well, not really starting to mount, it's starting to mount, that's what I should say. And now, with the fact that the attackers have the momentum, it's worrying. They're now they're 3 away from winning this matchup. Can they build upon this? We'll need to see. You talked about how the fact that Giants have been slain through this method. But the thing is, though, I mean, so has David's. There's plenty of small teams, or teams who are trying to make a comeback, being shut down quite early, and now the gunfight's starting to be taken. But do you want to know what? The defenders are there to win them out, as there goes a double for Vinger.
Stopping the onslaught. Phantom Legion, they're just going to continue to hold the fort. They actually re-execute back onto Hookah. They're going to be holding this tower position. Smoke grenades go out, but it's not going to stop Rest because he just backed up through the smoke. And just like that, instantaneously, Dawn has 1 player left against 5, stuck over by the Hookah rotation, and more Brimstone smoke grenades are stopping that insertion dead in its tracks. Spike is in a better position and all actually locked down in between Hookah. And you can tell that Phantom Legion knows exactly where it is. They stack all their man count to hold that position. And really, the only option you have is save your armor, save your Spectre, and go into the next round with a dive.
Oh, well, I mean, do you know what? Maybe Ryuga has an answer of his own. We'll need to find out here. He does have the Spectre, but do you know what? Doesn't have his life. He drops the Spectre on the floor, and do you know what? Maybe there'll be a little bit of a pickup here as we see Vinger rushing straight away to pick up that gun. Now, we look at this. We've seen a bit of an answer back here from the defenders. They've also picked up the guns of their counterparts. They've actually been able to pick up the economy a little bit. And now, with the attackers misplacing their footing a little bit, defenders are starting to look a little bit good. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a commitment towards this A site. I think there's a bit of a force buy here as I saw. I believe, was that a judge or... I can't remember
Bucky.
what the other... Bucky, yeah. I think a Bucky was being bought, so I hope that's not the case here.
Bucky was confirmed in by Rams, and it seems like both these rosters are just trying to maintain as much money as possible. So the highest weapon we see is Spectres, 4 on the side of Phantom Legion, and a Bucky coming out by Dawn. Nonetheless, though, it's going to be an interesting position to be in. They're going to continue to hold things down for as long as possible, trying to, well, stop the insertion. The spike actually goes down.
Yeah, well, the spec's been confirmed to be down, but do you know what? There's been no bodies that have been... Oh, I lie. This body's starting to hit the floor now as defenders begin their retake. Now we see here the Viper swinging wide, winning that fight out. Dagon's got one of his own as well, and now in a 4 versus 2, the Viper playing a really long angle here. She's playing passive, maybe going for that denial, and there doesn't seem to be the Viper utility coming through. And do you know what? The bomb's ticking down. This is the thing. Can the attackers actually win this out just through sheer denial? They see the Viper utility has been dropped, and they can't get close to that diffuser. They're trying to start it now. Can they win it out? Can they start the diffuse? Yes, they can. Spike's been diffused. The bodies were dropped. Great round from the defenders.
Just enough time left on that clock to make sure that spike doesn't implode in any Phantom Legion player's face. And well, Cairo, it seems to be the exact same storyline from earlier in the day. The defense are just stomping down the attackers. And we saw an early round win. Round 13 was the last time that Dawn found the scoreboard, at least in the win department. Now they're starting to suffer. But we've seen both these rosters save their money for as long as possible. We're on the 3rd round into the half, and it's the first time that we're going to see a full commitment into the rifle round. Still Spectre being shown by one player of Phantom Legion, but more crucially, we see an operator now selected and a position to swing in through B long. You have to be careful if you're on Dawn. If you over-aggress scenario, you might get bullied.
Yeah, that's the thing though, the location dart is actually being used to reveal the situation of that player. See where he's going to come from, and I don't believe they know that that player had actually rotated to that off position. The op absolutely firing away. There goes a second one, but there's a bit of a rotation here as we see the attackers are now on the other side. They're on A, they're not even challenging B long. That operator has been nullified just by the fact that they are in a different location. Now, the defenders, they know exactly where they are. They're just holding down these angles, making sure that ingress into site doesn't happen. We're waiting for the execute to come through. Is it going to happen, Floofy? He's making a bit of an off rotation, trying to catch this Brimstone off guard as they think there's a lot of a commitment through bodies, through utility from these other attackers. We see here's a bit of a bullets being traded back and forth. Fluffy's going to confirm the plan, but it's on the opposite side. Do they know? We see the rotation coming through. We have the teleport to make the rotation for the attackers easier. And now, in this situation, the defenders are at a disadvantage. They need to start the retake. They need to find out where these players are. The Cypher is getting away his position by dropping that cam. The operator, that's going to begin to shoot away. Nothing connecting. They're trying to find where the players are, but the attackers, they know where the defenders are. The location dart, that's perfect, and they can't even get the first kind of half. Tell you what can get the first half though, Dagon, he's dropping 2, spray left, and a situation for Ryuga confirming the attacker win. 11-5, again another round on the scoreboard. Chief, what can we say about that?
Genius, incredible play by Dawn. I mean, that was the bait and switch. Phantom Legion just took the hook, line, and sinker. They bit so much on that hook that they just weren't prepared to execute on the complete other bomb site. Again, that was a B plan, but what we saw come out of Dawn is they teased A. They put a lot of utility there. They went for the, hey, I'm over here, come shoot me mentality. And Phantom Legion, they said, all right, I'll take you up that offer. I'll take these gunfights against you. and the one lone player, the spike player of Dawn, rotated to B. He put the spike on down, and then Phantom Legion just looked perplexed. They almost looked like they got stunned. They were shook in those positions. It took them a while to rotate back, but unfortunately, they were never able to actually make that rotation home.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. The fact that the defenders couldn't win that out. Fluffy, he's going to win his first gunfight, though, and that's going to put them in a bit of a situation. That Jet, although that's going to put them even better. Ninja answering back goals, shutdown kicks, and Fluffy. That's it. That's that 2 frag on the boards. Do you want to know what now? 3 versus 3 Yuga, making it a 3 versus 2. Plant is getting confirmed. They still have an ult in the form of Reyna Astra, confirming that utility being down onto site, and now you're thinking here the post-plant situation is definitely looking good for these attackers.
Rotating in through lamps, checking their corners, but unfortunately nobody's going to present themselves, leaving out their showers. One gets dropped, the refrag comes on through, but since the man advantage was in favor of Dawn, the attackers are able to refrag particularly well, stopping down all advances of Phantom Legion. And now, as you heard the broadcaster say, we've moved into match point 12-5, and it's looking like it's going to be the attackers of Dawn, who look so good on defense, going to convert that into looking even better on their attack.
Do you know something that I would love? I'd love to see a comeback now and take us all the way to the end of the match. The maximum amount of rounds. Yeah, that would just be insane. You know, I mean, to see that comeback, oh man, the storylines, the drama, I love it. That's the type of things I love to see. Anyway, enough of that. Do I know what? Rams, he's going to make sure that we don't see OT. Starting off the round, taking off Rescop. That Brimstone getting down. They have the spike. They're waiting to see where they want to. Can I get this plant down? Rams continuing his terror, making sure that he takes down more. That Reyna going that kind of entry op that we talked about previously. We see the commitment slowly starting to come through, but the defenders, they'll know exactly where the players are. Maybe I'm talking rubbish. Maybe it's the caster's curse, because I'm seeing a bit of a rotation.
Well, it's the idea behind, hey, we put a lot of emphasis over into B. We Viper ulted to cut off the line of sight, so we're just going to continue to make the defenders think on their toes. Phantom Legion has one lurking. He tries to come up through Phantom, but unable to actually find that impact. He's forced to rotate away, and still Dawn is applying pressure to both bomb sites simultaneously. They don't really know what's going on. Deegan with another kill. It's now all onto one. It's going to be a full rotation and save. Phantom Legion looking like they're going to surrender this map, as it's a 5v1 in an impossible scenario, but it's going to require quite an attempt.
It's going to require quite an attempt. We do have an ult to kind of pick away at some sort of health. You know what? It's not all and out. Well, it is now. Fluffy confirming that match point. That map for the team of Dawn Entity. They were so good on that full round. The mechanical ability, the way they ran their executes, the crossfires that they were holding. It was just, dare I say it, flawless.
I mean, Dawn looked incredible. I mean, they set the sun straight over Phantom Legion. Phantom Legion, they looked fatigued, like we've just played like a best of 5. They were lethargic. Their rotations were slow. They never really reacted. And when they did react, their reactions were slow. It's like taking like that knee-jerk reaction test where the doctor like hits your knee with a mallet. But the problem was Phantom Legion, their knees were hit, and then they didn't swing and kick the doctor in the face until like 20 seconds too late. We need Phantom Legion to be dynamic. They need to predict what Dawn is going to do moving forward, because the whole strategy for Dawn, something that we talked about early on, was a strong IGL able to identify the weaknesses on defense and rotate, guide his attacking troops into winning scenarios, something that's very difficult to do. It requires like that instantaneous knowledge of where the defenders are playing and the utility they have at their disposal.
The thing is, though, it's not as if they weren't committing utility or anything like that. It was they would commit the utility and then freeze. Like, you can't freeze. You have to keep it dynamic. You have to keep flowing. You have to keep going through the round. Make sure you're taking those gunfights. We said before, if you can't take that gunfight, if you're not putting yourself in a position to take the gunfight and then being scared in that scenario or freezing, it doesn't look great. I mean, I'd say maybe Phantom Legion looking like a bit of a ghost of their former selves.
Yeah, again, that's just on in-game leader. The latter part of that sentence is leader. It's more than just calling strats. You really have to guide those troops forward. But with that being said, map 1 was phenomenal. We're going to dive over to a quick 5 to 10 minute break. Keep this tab open. Don't depart the stream, because I promise you, Haven, map number 2, is going to be just as brilliant.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I've got the lovely Chief with me. Here I am, Cairo. We're getting ready for this next map. I nearly said matchup there. This next map between Phantom and Dawn. This is the thing. It's been such a good map. It was a bit of a dominant performance, I'd say, but potentially. I mean, last time we saw, if I remember correctly, oh no, I've totally lost the team's names. But like we saw the other team actually win out the map, so potentially that could be the case this time.
I'm just eager to see Haven again, Cairo. I mean, what we saw from our first series of the day,
Yeah,
Haven, was just all over the place. We
yeah.
saw attackers basically doing what they did on Bind. That was Dawn just, they would tease a bomb site. They'd kind of poke the bear, they'd kick it in the face, and they'd be like, I don't want to execute on C anymore. There's a lot of defenders in this position. Let me just, hightail it out of there and, go over to A. Oh, it's much more safe here in A. Let me go for a plan, which we saw Don do so many different times on Bind. It was incredible. And honestly, I,
Yeah.
I live for plays like that. When we were cold mics there, we are talking about coming from Siege, the
Yeah.
IGL nuances. And when I see teams make those rotations, I mean, it's like, we're back in Siege, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, though, you love to see the kind of adaptations from each team. Something that I'm noticing here is I don't believe we have, if I'm correct, we don't have the healer operator. I can't remember what she's
Sage?
called again. Yeah, we don't have a sage, which is usually something that we see on this map, and the fact that she can wall off that middle site. I'm maybe a little bit worried about that, but I mean, if both teams aren't going for it, then potentially, I mean, who am I to say? I'm just a caster. I just kind of talk nonsense over the game, and these guys know better than me. But I mean, I'd usually expect to see a sage or some sort of walling operator to make sure that no one can enter into that B site.
I mean, we also saw Vipers be so important back on
Yeah.
Bind. Both rosters were electing to bring her out as an agent, and unfortunately, she's not going to make the impact here on Haven. Now, that may actually make some sense, simply because, well, what are you going to really wall off? Are you really going to find that impact with any of those Viper walls? Sure, you can, cut off the rotation between CB and BA, but we've also seen teams find more creative avenues of flanking, particularly using CT
Yeah.
spawn as an example, where they come in from behind. So you really have to be prepared for every single scenario, every single twist and turn. Again, the buy phase is starting to go underway, and it's an emphasis that we've seen a lot recently. Just buy whatever you want. Frenzy, lock that bad boy in. Ghost, lock that bad boy in. Just hit your shots.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It'll be interesting to see what's happening here. We see the fact that both teams have brought an Astra. I love the Astra. I think that the way she's able to use her utility, like just essentially put it anywhere she wants, it's like she's moving all the pieces. She controls the board. But do you want to know what? So do guns. We start to see them light up.
Flying into the bomb sites, one, but it's going to be the defensive
Spike
Phantom Legion
down
holding the
A.
fort on down. Foofy's going to find the
I have
first kill
retrieved
in
the spike.
favor of the attacking roster of Dom, but it's still not looking good for them. 2 Frenzies versus 3 Ghosts in a Frenzy. It's a bad position to be in. Still plenty of time left on the clock. Spike's working its way once again back over to A. Seems like for Dawn, the emphasis is still pushing on this bomb site literally, but with that man disadvantage, they're going to have to find something different. It's going to be playing off each other and just hopefully winning the gunfight. It's a step in the right direction for them. And now the roster counts are all tied up, dealing with the Heaven position, but the Frenzy misses it. Sean, identification going out once again, but it's going to be bomb site control as Phantom Legion forced to crash back onto the site.
Well, the plant is
Spike
finally going to be
planted.
dropped
One
onto the
enemy
site, and
remaining.
do you want to know what? So is the bodies. Floofy getting dropped, and now Kick having to
player
do it all himself, and he is able to do it. What a clutch from that man. 3 kills on the round after the plant went down. They looked as if they were all out. They had no hope. But 2 versus 5, oh sorry, 2 versus 4, easy work for these guys.
What a attack. I mean, something that I just honestly wasn't prepared for. 2v4 converted into, well, that 1v1, that finale. And that's the problem of the way Phantom Legion held that bomb site, at least when they tried to retake that bomb site, was the fact that they didn't play together as teams. They played together as individuals. They swung almost for these hero style of plays, and they lost gunfight after gunfight. Again, when you have such a large man advantage, you have to just push together as a unit and guarantee those refrags. Just overwhelm the defenders. Sure, you could just take 2 1v1s, or yes, technically 2 1v1s, and then at that point, the attack just won't be able to refrag. The attack starting things off. Why? Because they have more money and better weapons.
Yeah, but not only that, they have great positioning. Look at this
Player
kick.
standing.
2 great kills from him, and all he did was stand in the middle of a doorway. Rams getting 1 for his own. Zerobi in a bit of a off position here, getting caught out. Flawless follows attackers, and do you know what? I'd say flawless from Crix there. He basically put himself in a position where he was like, you know what, you guys walk to me, I'll take the kills, just give me freebies. Easy as that.
Nothing too surprising. We tend to see rosters who win the first round have more money, which means they're the advantage in the weaponry department. They take 2 rounds in a row. Now things are going to get a little bit more spicy, like a good curry. It's going to be just a bunch of different flavors put in. We have full offense running Spectres and the entire defense running Phantoms. So basically, if you like suppressors, this is going to be the round for you. Round 3, everybody has those weapons sussed and ready to push. This is going to be a C-long execute. Smoke grenades already go out, cutting off the long lines of sight for Phantom Legion. Well, they do know that things could take place very soon on that C bomb site.
Yeah, that's the thing. The utility dump is beginning from this Soba. Couple of arrows flying out, nothing connecting here. But do you want to know what? Again, Rams starting his dominance again with the bullets, taking out another player. There is a bit of a commitment here. Rescop catching 2 there with the spike getting dropped. 4 versus 3. We see here there's been a pickup. Ryuga coming round to swing, picking up 1. Rams getting 1 of his own. 3-2. Now location has been revealed. And do you want to know what? Plant potentially coming down here. There we go. The confirmation on your screen. But do you want to know what? We do have the cocktail there. The Molotov able to potentially deny the plant is going to happen. But Ramaz's bullets is going to happen. Rams getting the refrag now. 1 versus 2. That's the thing. He's got flash. He's got plenty of utility. Can he catch anybody out? But no, Fliffy's there, taking out Vinger. And that's the thing. Attackers, another round on the board. More utility, more economy. Again, it's the same thing that we said before. It's the economy momentum. That train, it starts to run away. And then this is the thing. Can you stop that 10-ton machine? I don't know about that. We'll need to see.
I'm starting to get scared, Cairo, for the money that Phantom Legion has. Now, they have 2,100 as their most, 2,900 is actually their most. They ended up actually purchasing a judge, but everything else is marshals and, pardon me, sheriffs and classic pistols. They want to make sure they can go into round 5 with, round 5 with full utility, full rifles, and they're just going to be cannon fodder at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing though. We've seen there's a bit of trade here with pistols. Rams is going to get 1, but Zerobi's there to get the refrag. That's the thing though, we do see there is a bit of a judge holding close, holding short, making sure they can catch using that shotgun. But do you want to know what? A judge versus rifles is never good. It's never going to be a great situation. It's the Astra versus 3 now. But this is the thing, we don't have a judge anymore. We now have a Phantom. We now have the rifle, and this is the first gunfight being taken with that rifle. It's going to be 1, and Reskov making it look a little bit easier. He's now in a 1 versus 2. He's starting to get to see where these players are. Again, you need to find out where the players' positionings are, where the Overwatch is being taken. He's going to pick up another Phantom, make sure he can just reload that mag without actually having to reload. See that? He's going to reload. Now, beating the plan. And I don't even need to talk. I don't even need to talk because Kix is there. Kix is alive. This man has consistently performed throughout this matchup. 4 rounds on the board, and it's the same guy that keeps popping up. Kix is what a round again.
No surprise. It's just the impact frag after impact frag. Phantom Legion, they're going to expend their economy entirely. They're even invested into an op. It's a high-risk play, but I mean, since you're on defense and you've lost 4 rounds in a row, maybe you can stop the advances of Dawn on the attacking side. You post that op up in an elevated position, and you just go for broke at this point. You try to stop everything that they're doing. The op spotted and fell, spraying off the board.
No.
It's a huge blunder. $5,000 expended on that 1 piece of utility, all for it to get obliterated.
Go big or go home. And do you want to know what? You better start packing your bags, because that's just unfortunate. Ramazza, he's up on heaven, trying to get frag here, and he's actually going to be able to hit it. Fluffy getting dropped. That's the Cypher versus the Cypher, and we know who won. Defenders actually getting potentially into a good position here. We got to remember, where is the bomb? Where is it going to go? And we look here, it's down by spawn. They can still have the option of going to any site. That's where the position of the bomb is. But do you know what? There's only one site free. Look towards the map. It's C. The defenders are in a position to potentially refrag or gain control again, but it doesn't look likely. Rams getting one onto Rescop, Zerobi getting the refrag. Now we see the players starting to enter into site. If you look towards our map here, Texas, he's starting to hold off the flank, hold off the rotations of the players. Bit of an ult being used here. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds
Plant
left.
still to go down. Here we go. It's finally
One
getting
enemy
dropped.
remaining.
And there goes the rotation. Kixes again. Stopping the rotation. Just playing that flank watch. Is great to see him do this. Pick up another one. And now Ramazza, he's questioning himself. He's thinking to himself, where did they go? Where is it going to be? Diagonal. He's going to take that fight. But do I know it? It's a bait and switch. It's Kixes again. He pops up to get his second of the round.
Cairo, in the industry, we have a term for something like this. It's called a yikes. And Phantom Legion, whoo boy, my friend, they are on the struggle bus. A one-way ticket has been punched. They haven't yet talked to the driver able to get off this bus. And you would assume that defense would be the place to be. Now, we've seen this map go attacker side in professional play, but down here in amateur, sometimes maps can still just always lurk defensive simply because, well, they're the ones that dictate the pace of the round, but Phantom Legion, they always attempt to make plays. They just get slaughtered as a result. We keep highlighting certain players of Dawn, but honestly, the entire roster of Dawn is playing this impeccably. The way that they execute on a bomb site, the way that they tease a site, make full rotations, always keeping Phantom Legion on their toes, forcing them into scenarios that they just aren't ready for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Flippy's going to be able to get his first frag of the round there, taking out Zerobi. And that's the thing, he's going to be able to actually put out that cam, and there goes another Vinger, getting down Rams. Oh my god, look at this, it's just a slaughter. This Spray's able to get one back. Kixes taking out Spray. Oh my goodness gracious me, attackers, you need to slow down because it's just not stopping.
I always thought it was sheep walking to slaughter, but apparently it's now Rams as he just brings the sheep to him, just collecting so many kills. At a certain point, if you're Phantom Legion, when do you make the, all right, let's technical pause this. Let us break down our issues because, frankly, Cairo, there's far too many issues that are mounting on these round losses. It's now 6 rounds in a row that they've lost, and it's starting to look worse. They just don't have any weaponry. Another round, only the 3rd time that we've ever seen them have rifles. And once again, they have purchased an operator. Deegan as well as an operator on this attacking side of Dawn because, well, he was gifted it because he picked up the Phantom Legion op all those rounds ago. But Kix, who's a standout performer, the top frag for Dawn, has fallen.
Well, that's the thing though, the Kixes, he's been playing this kind of flank watch operator, kind of playing on these off positions, just waiting to see if they'll walk into him, and that's the thing, they keep doing it, they keep feeding these frags, and it's a question of, is it Kixes being lucky, or is it Kixes knowing exactly where they're going to be? Fluffy taking out Zerobi, Spray using that op to take out Fluffy. A little bit of an even trade here, but do you want to know what? The man count still in favor of these defenders. It gets worse though. Spray's going to get another one, and again the plant is going to drop now in a 4 versus 2 situation. The Jet's going to put herself into an off position. We're getting ready to take this gunfight. We talked about it before. If you put yourself in that situation, you can freeze. We're waiting for the Astra smoke to drop. Sorry, and the Astra getting ready to push through. There's only 3. Oh no, they line up. Line them up. Drop them down. Cause oh my god, what a kill that was from Rams.
Oh, that's heartbreaking to watch. I would actually assume that Rams are going to get too aggressive there, just over swing and die. We've seen that be a problem in the past. Unfortunately, the only problem is Phantom Legion's inability to win gunfights. It seems like we saw them be passive on attack back on Bind, and now they're just so passive on the rotations to bomb sites with their defensive hold. They need to, again, address these issues. And honestly, maybe Phantom Legion, they need like a confidence booster. Maybe they attempt down to push like A long and try to take a gunfight because what they're doing is just not working.
Well, do you know what? That's going to work. Vinger, he's going to get one frag onto Rams. That man has been absolutely rampant throughout this matchup. This is the thing, frag after frag. A bit of utility being used here, but do you want to know what else is going to be used? The rifles. There goes another two. There's a little bit of a kind of flashbang here. Daigen, he's going to be able to get another, and now, again, man count just not great. Plant's going to get ready to go down. They're taking their time, making sure they've got the site closed. Luffy getting dropped. Ryuga getting to swing, but Zerobi is there. And now, 2 versus 3. It's looking extremely... Oh, not even 2 versus 3. It's 2 versus 2. I completely misread the outlines.
Everybody's just attempting to grab
Last
information. The
player
thing is,
standing.
the defense knows exactly what's going on in their B bomb site. A 3K now for Zerobi, and the shock dart will confirm the 4th. A perfect use of utility, and there we go. 7 rounds in a row, stop dead in their tracks. Phantomation finally wins something on defense. Now, it could have all been in vain, though, as their opponents still
1 second,
have
peeps. I
more
gotta visit the
money
Astros
than
to
they
play
do. I
some
mean,
stars.
look at the members of Phantom Legion. Some of them are still sitting at below $1,000. Some of them are sitting at 0. It's just not a comfortable position to be in, but at least you were able to save the day. Attack pause finally coming out. If you don't know why they just use attack pause, you can only do it after winning a round. There's a round win for Phantom Legion. So now they're going to address their issues still moving forward and find new plans to take gunfights to Dawn.
What's the thing though? They're taking this time out here from, I think it's the defenders that have activated it. So they're going to start to take a little bit of a sit down, think to themselves, where are we going wrong? Why are we getting taken out so easily? I'd say, I've already kind of pointed to it before, but the fact that there's an active kind of flank watch from the attackers of Dawn is just like playing into their hands so easily. Because think about it, you have 3 sites to rotate through. You're going to try and take the easy route sometimes, and when you take the easy route and there's a man ready with his arms open just thinking to himself,
That'll work.
do you know what? I'll take more economy, I'll take more kills, I want to look like as if I'm amazing. It's something that just shouldn't be happening, and it's just continuing to mount.
Basically, you want to have billionaire status. You want to just be rolling in that dough. So if push came to shove, you can just buy all operators and have that as just this wall of bolt action sniper rifle utility.
Joke's over.
Now it seems like, well, it's going to be the same style of execute for Dawn. They're still pushing over to Ceylon, and they actually have that control temporarily as operators have all fallen away. Sprays spots the ult of that Phoenix bump. He just goes back into his original body. Spike is now going down on the ground.
Spike
And
planted.
Phantom Legion, nowhere near their own bomb site, forced to evolve into attackers, re-executing.
Oh, this is the thing. They've got the plant down, but do I know what they've also got down? Fluffy, he's dead. Now, we think about this. We're now in a 4 versus 4 situation with ults on the side of the attackers. We do have the Soba ult, but again, we have 1 extra player on the side of the attackers. They're just holding angles, playing passive. They don't need to show their faces. Why would they? They've got the bomb down. They have the advantage. They're essentially the defenders in this situation. The defenders, they're actually getting a bit... Oh, I was going to say a bit aggressive here, and there we go. There's the answer as all the frags come out. The attackers winning out that round. 8-1 in favour of them, and it has, I mean, nearly flawless, apart from the 1 round that they've lost so far. It's just continuing to be this runaway train, Ozzy Osbourne singing in the distance.
Phantom Legion once again returning back into a predicament. Where do we go from here? They're going to elect to go for a save this round. Some of their players are sitting at 2,500 in the monetary department, but they just don't want to expend all their money into this round. They can use it in the penultimate round into round 11 when we actually enter into that mark. But the thing with Phantom Legion is they just basically gave away the C-bomb site in our previous round. They were just so passive, but hey, it might be changing up for them. They find the opening duel, and they are able to grab a man advantage.
Well, they're able to grab a man advantage, and do you want to know what else? They actually have, even on the ults as well. Remember, attackers still have that diffuser in hand, so do you want to know what? They don't have to reclaim that at any point. They can rotate as they please. We see there is a bit of a commitment towards this A site. There's no one on B. Well, I say that, there's going to be a rotate through. The Cypher is ready and waiting to take out Zerobi. Fluffy, that man who I mean, again, they've all been good. That's the thing. We can't really point to one player, even though I keep doing it. Now, there's a bit of a commitment here finally from the attackers. We see them start to flush onto site. The diffuser is going to start to get dropped here, as we see, is getting put down now. Two players are going to have to rotate from B, and do you know what they're taking the safe route, as I said before, maybe potentially one through garage, potentially two here, as we see where the outlines are. They know exactly how to get back onto this bomb site, as whether they can find the players on the bomb site. We hear the tick tock of that bomb. Will it explode? We'll need to find out. We know where the players are now, as we see Daigen, he's been spotted, the flash is coming out, and now it's a Jet in a 1 versus 2. Make that 2 versus none. Attackers winning another round, 9-1 in favour of them. Again, it keeps happening round after round, kill after kill. It's all attacker favoured.
That was an incredibly nuanced round for Dawn. I mean, their execute on the C was a mastercraft. What we saw them do is they pushed into garage after losing those 2 opening duels. They applied pressure between the junction between CT spawn and B, and they actually drew the 1 player of Phantom Legion on that bomb site to actually challenge into garage and allowed the rest of Dawn to actually directly execute into C. And at that point, Phantom Legion realized their mistake, and they were forced to, again, fully execute back into the site. A collateral for a spray! Another opening duel, and another round where Dawn is forced to go at a 5v3 execute, but they were able to win this once before, with the penultimate round starting off well for Phantom Legion.
What a double kill there from the Jet player on that operator, that sniper rifle, that absolute bulldozer. We've seen it, one bullet penetrating 2 players, 2 attackers, 2 guns dropped on the floor. We see here there's going to be a bit of commitment towards the A site. We do have a Cypher tripwire. We know where they're going to be. Will it get shot out before they walk through? I think they've spotted it if I look towards this map here, because they're a bit hesitant to walk through. We do see that Astra, she's getting ready to go to long. Don't think that's a great idea, because they're going to have to contest. Having Ramaza though, he's contesting it down into this little pit here, and it's just not looking good. The two players getting caught off guard, but the 1 player getting dropped. 2 versus 5, almost flawless as Ramaza gets another kill, and now the Jet in a 1 versus 5, 20 seconds to go with the bomb down on the floor. It's cold. Will this round be cold?
She's a duelist, and she's going to have to live up to her name. 5 targets present, but the operator from heaven is something that she just is unable to address. Phantom Legion now only takes her 2nd round. Problem with that is, well, we currently move over to the final round of the first half of map number 2, Haven. And honestly, Phantom Legion, they're looking lackluster. You don't want to be in this scenario at all, but at least they're able to win the last round. And both these rosters moving into this round 12, they have full weaponry. It's ops, it's rifles, and it's going to be bonanza. We're going to see a double swing over and see our 2 operators forced to do a duel to the death. A collateral back in round 11 spearheaded the assault on the defensive side for Phantom Legion. Now they're going to try to emulate that.
Well, that's the thing though, the defenders need to get this extra round to try and get that breathing room. We talked about it before on the last map. We're in the same situation. Get this extra round. Make sure you put yourself in a good position. He's thinking to himself, no, that's not going to happen. Cypher, he's going to use his ult and confirm the positions of all the defenders. He's getting ready to swing. He takes out the Soba, and now look at this. The site's opening up. The attackers, they're flushing onto site. They're getting ready. They're taking control. The Jets went above, holding heaven. Look, waiting for these rotates. Look, it's about to come. There goes 1. Can potentially 2 be dropped as the Jet versus Jet happens, but Rams is the one to win it out. Rescop getting 1 now, getting 2 now, and look, they're all starting to line up. Can he win these other gunfights? Not if Daigen's got something to say about it.
Alright, I've always wondered this. How on earth does Soba's ult actually work? He throws his hat, and it just magically finds people. I've never understood that. Like, his hat just twirls the air, it goes over a dead body, and he gets wall hacks. Like, I love it. I love Valorant, dude. It's so incredible. All jokes aside, though, Phantom Legion, lackluster defense for them. Moving over to our attack side, well, it could be attacker side of map. Again, not the first time Haven has floated in that direction. So, Phantom Legion, they're going to do something that their opponents did, Dawn did while they're on attack. It's going to be kind of this mixed execute where they have some of the attackers pushing through C, some of them teasing up through B, and the other ones flirting into A. Unfortunately, though, will that style of play work for them? One of the key success factors for Dawn was their ability just to click heads. Phantom Legion has looked lackluster in that department, so they're going to have to see if they're able to rectify that.
Well, this is the thing though, on the last map of Bind, we saw a lack of commitment. You're talking about flirting, you're talking about flitting between sites. This is the thing though, it can't be like my relationship. There needs to be commitment from these players. They need to get ready to go onto a site. We see here there is a lot of info being gathered here. We saw the dart getting put into one of the players, so they now know the position of the Jet. That's the thing though, it looks as if it's a commitment onto B, and it's not a position you want to be in if you've not established the right things. You've not established garage control, but do I know what you've established? You've established gun control. 2 players getting dropped, make that 3, continuing on, but Floofy has an answer back. The plant being dropped. Now we're starting to slow things down, but I'm talking rubbish. Floofy, he's got that gun, he's getting ready to fire back. They're firing back and forth. Ryuga getting one of his own. The retake is beginning to start. Ryuga's gonna get a second, and now who can get the third? Rexcop getting one of his own in a 1 versus 1 situation. Can he kill the Cypher? Yes, he can! A clutch round, and what a round to start us off on this pistol round. My God, Phantom, what a round from you guys to start us off. Start your comeback, bring it back, win this map.
A beautiful showing of skill from Phantom Legion. Only, 90 seconds ago, we're saying that the mechanical skill of Phantom Legion was looking a little bit quiet compared to their opponents of Dawn. However, Phantom just said, you know what, Chief? You're absolutely wrong. They storm into the B bomb site, and they just go bonanzas. It is discombobulation and discord over on B, and Dawn was unable to retake. A valiant effort going to the 1v1, but again, they were just a little bit slow at crashing back into the B side. It's going to allow Phantom Legion to have the economic advantage moving into this round. And oh my lord, look at all the shorties. That is 3 different shorties that were purchased by Dawn. Just something you don't see.
Yeah, that's something that you definitely don't see, but this is the thing though, the shorties, they can be used in these positions. Look where they are, they're short, they're waiting for the swing, and then they can just take them off guard. But do you want to know what? See, if you go through garage, you can be able to catch one off, and that is the Cypher. Will they be able to find them? This is the thing though, they look the wrong way, Fliffy getting one, but Zerobi, he's going to get the answer back. And now in a 4 versus 4 situation, it looks like the Jet, she's going to get dropped. Do I know what? There's still plenty of guns on the board though. They can get the plant down now. They're starting to use their utility. They're starting to create these crossfires. The Astro is getting ready to jump up, but what a shot into the Cypher. There goes 2. Can Kix confirm the third? No, Zerobi's there. But do you want to know what? Doesn't matter. Rams, he's able to finish out the round, defusing that bomb, making sure he gets that extra point for his ulti. What a round, and what a retake from the defenders.
Fascinating execute coming out by Dawn. It was looking a little bit awkward for them as they allowed Phantom Legion to work their way into Garage, but that was just the macro strategy for Dawn. They were kind of lulling Phantom Legion as false sense of security, putting them on their toes, and then they start to swing in with those shorties in hand, the double barrel shotgun CQC style. It collected its kills and it wasted its time. I also have to say, I don't remember who it was, but the player with the Marshall that double swung with an impeccable trigger discipline and the perfect way at target prioritization. What that means is addressing who the biggest threat was. The player lurking in the top hand corner of C, he was the biggest threat. Why? Because he was looking directly at him. He flicked over to the other player and nobody was wiser for Phantom Legion.
I think as well on top of that, the fact that they were able to potentially like work in unison with each other in the retake, so they were able to distract. But you know what? They're taking it to the spawn here. As you see, the defenders are taking it right to the attackers, and the bodies are hitting the floor. I was getting a bit distracted with my analysis, but I ain't getting distracted with this action. The defenders winning out the round, putting us on to match point. The penultimate round just being absolute drama.
Cairo, I think I need a hug, man. It's starting to get a little chilly in here for Phantom Legion. It's just, they don't have the impact as they once did. I want them to return back into round 3. The swagger and round 13, the swagger and confidence that they had in that round where they just realized their only option was to flood into B, the previous two rounds, 14 and 15, were just, again, they were going back into their old ways of being quiet, tame, and they just were scared of pushing.
Joke's
The push
over.
for
You're
Rams,
dead.
he has the cojones of steel,
Oh.
collecting onto two. Phantom Legion, two of their players escorted away in body bags, not looking good for them.
Well, do you want to know what? While they're being distracted, I was about to say they're about to get the plant down, but Rams has answers of his own. The only thing that's getting down is the bodies, as there it goes. The round being confirmed. A 4K from Rams on the last round. What performance from him. What performance from Dawn all in. Personally, I think we didn't see enough of Dawn on the attack in the first map. And in the second map, they're like, do you want, we're on Haven, let's flex our muscles. Let's bring out the gun skill, and oh my god.
That was another phenomenal series. You know what, Cairo? I was a little bit concerned that we are just going to be bored out of our minds, just kind of drooling in plays, seeing the same two maps twice in a row. But honestly, they were so different from other, but also paralleling each other in so many different ways. We saw one-sided shows. We saw the defense on Bind just able to constantly stop assault after assault, able to rotate flawlessly between the bomb sites on Haven. It was the exact opposite. The defense had very lackluster rotations. They would get stuck over in CT side, unable to execute either onto A and C, and they would just die in those scenarios. The attackers would have the advantage post up in positions such as Garage. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for the enterprising, the cunning IGL support staff,
Yeah,
coaches to kind of VOD review and start
yeah,
to address these issues because we kept bringing them up throughout that broadcast. And not all hope is lost for Phantom Legion. I mean, they're sitting currently in fifth place right now in their Group B division, but they have moments of brilliance. They do look
yeah.
strong. It's just an opportunity for them to, I think, gather more information, not just on their opponents, but on themselves.
Yeah, I definitely think a key word from you earlier in the map was due diligence.
Yeah.
It just wasn't done. They never checked the corners that they needed to check. They never committed. They never did the things that they needed to do. And it's just small things that build up and then it just kind of collapses from underneath them. It's like not it's like building up this great house, but you have no cement below the house. Like you need to build from the floor up. Make sure you do the little things, and then when your macro plan comes out, it'll work. It's just all about the micro decisions, and that's just the unfortunate scenario. Well, this is the thing. They still have a chance to make sure that they do well later in the season. They still have more chances, more play days, and do you want to know what? I really hope to see them more of these players in the future because they are good. It's just, do you want to know what? Dawn was just better on the day.
I mean, too true, too true. And Phantom Legion, having experience with them over in Rainbow Six Siege, they have a
Yeah,
phenomenal org. They have a phenomenal support staff structure over there. And they wouldn't have picked up, the current roster that you saw today if they
yeah,
didn't have potential, right? So I can
yeah,
promise you they're going to be, nurtured into a team that is successful. And remember, Valorant is a new esport. What we're
yeah,
1 year into it. We've seen one real high level pro league match, one international land that really mattered at the end of the day.
yeah,
And these players are still learning, they're still evolving, and there's more than enough time. If we go back to CS:GO, Rainbow
yeah,
Six Siege, how long has CS:GO been around? Or not CS:GO, but it's Counter Strike in general, 20
yeah.
something years. I promise you, these players have plenty of time to learn, evolve, and grow.
Mm. Well, this is the thing though. NA they won out the last international major, so there's plenty of promising talent coming from this region. And with the fact that they won out the international land, I mean, I know it's a large gap from the top to the bottom, but the fact that this will kind of drip down slowly, the information, the decision making, the kind of structure and support of these orgs, I can guarantee you that NA definitely won't go away and become quiet. It's such a good region, and do you know what? I'm excited to see what's happening from these players.
I will say I was disappointed in Europe. Your home over there, man. You guys were. Whew, I don't know what happened. You guys didn't eat your wheat thins. You didn't eat your Cheerios. I mean, first off, it's time for you to eat some Cheerios too. It's 3 a.m. How on earth are you? How do you have so much energy right now, dude? I would have crashed like a long time ago, dude. I would have been boop out and slept.
Well, I'll give you a clue. It's a little drink that gives me wings. But
Oh,
I'm looking here, and this game gave me wings. It was such a banger. I mean, the frags coming back and forth. We never knew who was going to win a round at the end, and that's just it at the end of the day.
Well, if you can't tell, we've continued on our waffling conversation for quite a while. We're waiting on somebody from Dawn to hop on over and interview us, but we're not sure if production is going to actually allow us to interview, if that's going to be taking place. Some players, they have other things going on in their personal lives and they just want to, take their cake and run away and hang out with their teammates thereafter and
Yeah.
hop into their real life, which I totally get. But so we will be getting Floofy at some point. He's just trying to set up his camera. So we'll be eventually to having that. And I love learning from players. I mean, if you listen to Q's interview from our first series, what he said was fascinating to say the least, talking about how his IGL strategies were changing, how he was making rotations, what he was doing to
Yeah.
learn. And again, it's so different, Cairo coming from Rainbow Six Siege and all the
Yeah.
IGLing strategies that way. And again, the dichotomy between it.
Yeah, well, I mean, me and you were both IGLs at one point in our comp career. Obviously, not good enough to actually make it into the pro scene. But I mean, the thing
I'm
is,
a
though, we know
boomer.
the like. Well, we know the nuances. We know what it's all about. So we do have some sort of information on how it is in the comms chat, etc. It's just kind of building upon that. Almost, how would you put it? Putting in a situation where we learn because we're not really used to the Valorant scene. I mean, it's new, it's vibrant, and with such talent coming through, it's good to learn off of them as casters.
I couldn't agree with you more, but you know what? I'm sure the audience, they love listening to us talk for hours, but you know
Yeah.
what? We actually have somebody who's a little bit more important than us. Floofy, my
Yeah.
friend, first off, congrats on your victory and welcome to the casting booth.
Thank you.
It's excited to have you win the entire best of two today. And first off, what allowed you to be so dominant on map two? Again, we weren't expecting a roster to enter into Haven and just absolutely stomp their opponents.
Yeah, so the other team, we didn't play Haven against them last time.
Hmm.
So we decided to switch it up. We had a new team comp coming into the map. I really think we played a really good default strategy. Allowed us to win a
Yeah.
lot of on edge rounds. And we had some clutch moments that just gave us some
Yeah.
that just turned the tables and made us win some rounds.
I mean, you had hype plays to say the least. Now, we saw some strategy across both maps, Bind and Haven. You would always have phenomenal, impeccable rotations, both on attack and defense. How was that dialogue created, and how did you know when to rotate the appropriate manner or the appropriate time?
Well, we're just like going off calls. We were trying to cut info, but trying to figure out
Mhm.
how much where everyone was at the same time. It really came down to just like if there's a lurker, we saw that they weren't lurking that much, so we were like, okay, well wherever they're gonna go, they're either gonna push that or they're gonna try and rotate.
Now, were you expecting, before I pass it over to Kyra, were you expecting map three to be so one sided when map one was, a 13-6?
We thought it would be like a closer match,
Uh
but
huh.
we do know Haven is like a new map to us. We actually didn't really expect map one to be as easy as it was because before when we played against this team, it was like 13-11, and winning that extra like couple of rounds on them, it really showed.
I mean, my question for you guys, I mean, have you been working on your positioning on Haven? Because what I saw from like your players was the fact that you were taking up positions where you were waiting to catch the players off guard on their rotates, for instance, on that kind of B door, waiting for them to rotate from A to C or C to A. It just seemed like a kind of almost master plan in a sense, or was it just kind of one off, like, oh, this is what we'll try it again, or was it pre planned?
It was pre-planned. We thought of like trying to get a map sweep where we can just get all the info possible, pinching them off to a certain site and just trying to get kills from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, the strategy was executed almost perfectly. I think I would say so. Just from watching, I really enjoyed your guys' play. I mean, you guys were so explosive, especially. I mean, you went and kind of took the terrorist spawn. It's something that I'm not used to seeing myself. But the fact that you guys were so aggressive, I mean, it was a joy to watch.
Yeah. Thank you.
With that, Floofly, I'm going to get you one more question. Shout out to your roster, shout out your org, everybody who was helped you be successful. Again, you had a phenomenal series. Make sure they get the love they deserve.
I will make sure of that. 100%.
You can shout them out right now. You can make sure that they
I
hear
shout out
it.
my mom and my dad. They're watching the
Hey,
stream right now. Shout out to Nerda, Hype Man, same with Dane. Uh, yeah, that's really it.
Lovely. Floofly, it's a pleasure talking to you today. Go back, celebrate with your roster, and a well-earned victory.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
So,
Cheers.
Well, Cairo, what a fun day. And I know we were talking about this is only, I guess, my fourth Valorant cast, your third, and it was an incredible time with you. I absolutely enjoyed it. Your expertise, your play-by-play was impeccable. I mean, same thing can be said for Dawn. I mean, we just have hyped them up so many times. The mechanical skill, the hype that they just introduced by their gun skill alone was awesome.
yeah, I mean the thing is though they were dominant, but the rounds,
Mhm.
I mean the rounds themselves were just so action packed. It was back and forth consistently. It's something that we love to see. I don't think that I'll be going to bed anytime soon, even though it is very late. I can see the skies starting to light up in front of me. But
How? It's
anyway,
free. Hold on, time out. How does it go light at 3 a.m.?
do you want literally? I could turn around this camera and prove it to you. It's because it's the summer. It's honestly it's so bad. I can guarantee you in like 15 minutes that sky will be bright as anything.
That's incredible. I'm sorry I interrupted you there, but I just had
It's
to
fine.
absorb that. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, stay well. I'll be back with you another time.